Phil Larder, we've probably got a few more as well. Here is the legend, who I understand was absolutely delighted with Leeds' performance today, and we'll get stuck into about that very shortly. Well done to Wakefield as well. It's not all about how bad Leeds are. Injury hit Wakefield today. Did you enjoy it, everybody, Leeds losing today? Come on, is that... Oh, come on, did you enjoy Wakefield winning or not? Yeah! I'm not so sure. I thought I'd have enjoyed it a bit more than that, personally. But well done anyway. Phil Kaplan is here, editor of Forty20 magazine, the fantastic Forty20 magazine, whose name we steal for our little radio show. He's a lifelong Leeds fan, so please don't be too cruel to him. The legend is here, Leeds through and through. Dare I ask you what you made of today, Gary? You might need the microphone, it might work. Yeah, no, what did you make of it?
Well, to be honest with you, Wakefield deserved it, I would say. They took the chances very, very well. Leeds, they had loads of chances themselves, but as David Furner said after the game, the execution, realistically was very, very poor, very ordinary. But Wakefield took their opportunities, and as I say, the young kid there on the wing, Kershaw, absolutely outstanding, unstoppable at times, and as I say, I think it's his debut today, and the try what he scored going the length of the field. I think he'll be very, very happy and remember that debut. But yeah, Wakefield deserved it. Leeds have still got big problems.
Yeah, indeed. We'll talk more about Wakefield's performance today. Richard Shawright is a long-suffering, I mean long-suffering, Wakefield fan.
I've been in this room, sat down there where the people are now, being told to give up my shares in this club so we could go bust and start again. I went on the Bradford Bulls. We haven't restarted again. No, we haven't. But we're good now. We're fourth in the table.
Are you happy?
Very happy. Third. Why is this Castle playing now, aren't they?
Are Castleford losing?
Yeah.
Is that good news?
Yeah.
To all our cast listeners at home, we apologise for that. That was them, not us.
Playing to the audience.
Playing to the audience. Right, let's have a chat then. A lot has been made, Phil Kaplan, I'm going to start with you. A lot has been made about injuries in Super League, and we know we look around and the ice packs and bandages on knees and shoulders are in the right places. A lot has been made about injuries. Wakefield has got heaps of them. But they have won again. They should, in my opinion, have won on Thursday at Castleford. They didn't quite get the job done, but they have won today despite numerous injuries. What are your thoughts on that?
That was another victory for spirit today, more than anything. I think Wakefield have shown over the last 2 seasons, finishing 5th, that they're building a squad that is built around guys who really enjoy each other's company. I think, just talking to Michael Carter before we came on air, he ranks this as one of the best victories in his tenure, as does Chris Chester, because they reckon that 75% of their salary cap was on the sideline today. That's massive. That says more about the team actually than the result.
Hold on a second, I want 75% of Leeds salary cap on the sideline with Conrad Hurrell.
No, 75% of their weight was on the sideline. I think the interesting thing, again, talking to Michael was a devotee of 2 games over Easter. He said that every club needs a home game economically to survive, and this is a very important period for clubs when it comes to budget and finance. He's now come round to the idea that we perhaps should only have 1 game over Easter, and that we need to have 13 home games for each club and commercially more effectively market those. I think we've seen with the level of injuries we've got at every club at the moment, some considerably worse than others, that there is an issue about the number of games being played. Playing 2 games now over a 4-day period, 3 over 8 or 9, just does not work.
Well, we've got some players in the room, haven't we? Joe Rundle's down there, he did his shoulder the night. Joe, 2 games in 4 days, madness? Yeah, he says. Ryan Hampshire, he's played 2 games in 4 days, madness? 2 games in 4 days, is it madness, Ryan? It's alright, he says. It's alright. He's playing. Scotty, you said they play every day. You play every day when you were a player. Ryan's he's happy, he's won today. He's got no issue with playing against today, but it is a big ask, isn't it?
I guess it is in the same, because going back to my day, I've told the story lots of times. We played 3 games in 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I guess the ice baths are coming nowadays, and nowadays, it It was a gala, wasn't it? But yeah, I decided I believe in the players themselves. Would they rather train or would they rather play? For I would say they would rather play, to be honest with you. But hey, listen, it is what it is. But everybody's saying the same thing. We've got the injuries, but as I keep saying, every squad's got a squad of 25 players. So also the opportunity what these players are given, they're taking the opportunity. And Chris Chester said after today's game, the lads who are playing well, if they play well, they keep the jersey. That's all a coach wants. A coach wants competition for places. And certainly they've got that here at Wakefield.
A coach doesn't want 12 of his top line players not available to select every week as well. It has changed. It was predominantly a part-time sport when we had 3 games over Christmas, 3 games over Easter. It's a full-time sport now, and we have to adjust to that.
Yeah, but Phil, to be honest with you, that's got nothing to do with the Easter programme. They're all injured before Easter. So what does that mean? What does that mean in Easter weekend?
The whole season is too long. That's it. And also, we had a day yesterday, Easter Sunday, beautiful weather, and no rugby league. You know, if we'd have had a weekend whereby we'd have had a big game Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday, then I think you sell the sport. We can't now play Thursday and Friday next week because we've had the 2 games over Easter. You see what they've done in the NRL. 1 game over the Easter period for each club, sell it as a major event, sport benefit.
Well, let's ask the fans. There's a lot of fans in here. Fans, 2 games over Easter or 1? 2? Big cheer. 2? He wants 3. He's Scottish, but he wants 3 games. Well, look, the fans have spoken. They like it. You know, let's talk about the game today. Then, Gary, I've not been here, so I need to know what's happened. I've been following on social media. I've seen Wakefield have won narrowly the scoreline in the end. But how did the game go, from your opinion?
Yeah, again, you look at the first half. I think Leeds were captaining Wakefield 22 for many times, but again, with execution overpour. Wakefield didn't get into Leeds. It's 22. All half of us got 2 tremendous long-distance tries. An interception and saved the lad, the young kid, Kershaw scored the long-distance try, but they took the opportunities that Leeds did it, but it was 12 apiece at half-time, and Leeds were in there, but again, Wakefield in that second half, showing us pretty what they've got, played pretty smart, took the penalties where what Leeds give away for the indiscipline, took the two penalties, and took the opportunity well. The Leeds finished pretty strong at the end, but at the end of the day, they gave themselves too much to do. And what I would say about Leeds' performance today, the issue is it's not the inexperienced players who are letting Leeds down. I think now it's the senior players.
Well, Gary Neville came out the other night and absolutely laid it to Manchester United. I don't expect you to lay into it, but come on, name names. Who in the infield today let Leeds down?
Well, all the senior players, as I said about Warrington, Albert, he's not good enough. Texeru, I don't think for me. Yeah, I know he's gone off, but he's still not good enough. Anyway, he's not good enough anyway. Lola here threw more passes into Rose Ed. I think he threw.
Oh, that's not true, because there's not Zed Roy in that stand.
Well, he must have finished the voices down, wasn't it, then, if he threw the passes there from there. And, Merritt's just come back from Australia, so he'll pretty knackered, to be honest with you, at times. But overall, the senior players, they were the players who let Leeds down today.
Are Leeds a one-man team? Because Conrad Hurrell, every time I've seen Leeds this season, has been the main man. Where the Leeds have won, lost or drawn, he has been their best player by a mile.
Well, do you know what? Wakefield was smart today because they went down Harry Newman's side from there, so Hurrell might have been there, and defensively, he got found out. But that'll be a learning curve for him. But if Hurrell had been there defending on the edges, it may not have been so easy for Wakefield. But listen, that was smart play for Wakefield. They knew exactly what they're doing, inexperienced, found him out defensively, and Wakefield deserved the win.
Rich, you never tire of Wakefield beating Leeds, I'm sure.
Well, as I said on social media, people think that Castleford is a big rivalry, but we all hate Leeds. This is why Leeds in crisis is funny. Leeds is this big city, which is taking over Wakefield, bit by bit. Our history, our heritage, our culture and everything. Stealing things. Like Henry Moore stealing from Castleford, he's in Leeds now. The Rhubarb Triangle, that's Leeds, no, it's Wakefield. And now we've beaten them again at Rugby for the 2nd time this season. And let's face it, we battered them. And that was hilarious. And he wasn't quite as close there. To the place of people, as we stand for Parliament. See what's going on here. The fact of the matter is this, and it's the same as against Wigan 2 weeks ago here. Wakefield never looks in any real doubt of losing the game. I know Leeds came back towards the end and scored a couple of tries, but Leeds never really looked like beating Wakefield today. Wigan did a couple of weeks ago. Leeds and Wigan have lost their aura. They used to be a team to be scared of. I was a ball boy down there, I mentioned it before, and when you were ball boy against Leeds, you thought, oh, Dougie Lawton's Leeds win for a bit of trouble, and then we beat them, and it was great, Nigel White drop goal from the sideline. But used to fear Leeds, used to fear Wigan, and they don't have that fear anymore, and they just another team. Although it's still special to me because, of course, they are Leeds.
Richard is a long-suffering, like some of you guys are in this room. He really doesn't like Leeds. Leeds in crisis. We do enjoy it. He wants the microphone back. Go on. You're angry, aren't you? You're angry, but you're happy.
Yeah, there is a fear. People think I was joking the other week when I said I've been banned from Headley. I've not been banned from Headley. People didn't believe that, but I've not been banned.
You've not yet.
Not yet. To clear that up, just in case.
Hold on as well. I think you're all the same. You don't like Leeds. No, why are you wearing the t-shirt?
I can't stand Leeds. I dislike Leeds rivals with a passion. I am delighted that Wakefield won today. Anyone but Leeds rivals. Come on.
I think the important thing for Wakefield today was winning a narrow game, because they've lost 3 or 4 recently where they've either started too slowly or they've come back too late, and I think to hold on and win by 2 points today is really, but that is a turning point I think for them today.
Rich, I think you need to sort the camera out for the old Facebook, but...
the Facebook, I can't do anything about Facebook. The main thing is that no one got injured as well.
Okay.
We've had week after week of everyone going down injured. Now we've got a squad which is going to be pretty much the same going into the whole game on Sunday.
What's the feeling in the room for the Wakey fans that are here then? Because from our point of view, Gary, I think we said, well, I certainly said at the start of the season, Wakefield will be in the top 5. What we'll get the feeling in the room in a minute, but we are, what are we, 11, 12 games into the season now? Well, we're in the midst of it. What do you make of Wakefield's chances?
Well, Mark, to be honest with you, the Wakefield fans will be delighted because 12 games into the season, you know, is it 4th or 3rd in the league? The 4th in the league, and they've got 3rd, I think it lines up. But the fact of the matter is, they've got 12 players on the sideline, and the main man who's on the sideline as well, Danny Bruff, who they brought in as the final piece of the jigsaw to get to the top 5. So 12 games into the season, Wakefield are 4th, major players still to come back, certainly when the business end of the season comes. Boy oh boy, the Wakefield fans will be absolutely delighted with it.
Yeah, is that the feeling in the room? Wakey going to make the playoffs this year? Yeah. Who's going to make the playoffs, Wakey or Leeds?
So just remind me after which game it was you texted in and said Wakefield can't make the top 5.
I might have been after round 1.
But they lost at London. Rich, Wakey going to make the playoffs?
Well, I said at the start of the season, there's a lot of teams who are not showing muchness, aren't they? The great thing about Wakefield right now is those points are on the board. It's up to the other teams to catch it now. And I think we've seen with Hull's result today. They've been absolutely spanked by St Helens. But there'll be a different Hull side on Sunday at home. But Wakefield went there a couple of weeks ago and won. That's the problem with the Super League this year. That's why we get lots of stick about the predictions. Who'd have thought Salford would have beaten Warrington? Apparently all the Salford fans who sent us reviews on social media, none of them thought they would have, of course, lost to Warrington. But you can't predict anything these days, as we're trying to prove.
St Helens. You can obviously predict St Helens, who not only spanked Wigan on Good Friday, but went 10 points down early on today and absolutely did the same to Hull. So Saints are on their own at the moment, but good teams can back up. Average teams can't, and I think we've seen even Salford, who you quite rightly mentioned, had a result of Good Friday, superb victory at Warrington. They couldn't hold off Wigan today, and again, apparently a couple of self-inflicted errors at the end of the game meant that they didn't go through with it. But to be a consistent team, you have to be able to back up, and that's why I think this is an important win for Wakefield today, because they could have quite easily come away with another 2-point loss, but they haven't. And Hull. I think Hull rested 4 or 5 today, which again you just can't do at this level. It'll be a really important test for Wakefield at home next Sunday.
Yeah, also as well, as I said on the show last week, it's all about consistency, and I think what we're all decided, and I think we all agree on this, is that Saints and Warrington will finish 1 and 2, and then who's going to finish 3rd, 4th and 5th, with the consistency of a little bit of Wakefield, Cass, Hull, Catalans at times, Salford at times. You can't predict who's going to finish 3rd, 4th and 5th because of the inconsistency.
Yeah, interesting one.
Hull have lost twice by 60 points and they're still on the verge of the top 5.
What does that say to us? I mean, Wakey go to Hull next week. What does it say to us about Hull that they've conceded 60 points again? And it's alright saying they've rested 3 or 4. They had a good team out, a really good team out today. Although most of their big names were playing, and they've conceded 60 points, Gary. That is not good enough, is it?
And also, it's not good enough. And also, as well, they went 10-0 in front as well. But I think what we're going to do, we're going to credit St Helens, because I was at the game on Friday against St Helens, and what I'm liking about Saints is they're playing simple, basic rugby league. And when I say that, the forwards going hard and straight and direct with a purpose. With a purpose in forwards. And then what St Helens are doing, they're playing the numbers game. They're not playing behind, going block, block. The forwards are making the hard yards, simple rugby league, the hard backs are creating, playing the numbers game. They've got the speed in the back line of 3/4 wingers. Lachlan Cook coming at fullback, he's playing like an extra standoff. They have got a very, very well balanced side. St Helens can rip anybody apart, but as you mentioned, yeah, Hull simply not good enough. And I'd like to know now, or I'd like to see, if there's many Hull fans on Twitter, having a bit of a pop at me. Because I'm having a pop at them by conceding another 60 points.
Yeah, well, it's not the first time. Lee Radford out of contract end of the season, Scott. Do you think he would be worried about his future or not?
I can't see him, mate, to be honest with you. I think the relationship, I think it's the same as the relationship here, what Chris Chester has with Michael Carter. Rams has got the same with Adam Pearson. So I don't think his job is under pressure any way, to be honest with you, because if you look at the way Hull finished last season, well, the first 3 or 4 games this year wasn't very, very good. Stuck by him. Now I can't see Rams being under pressure, to be honest.
Okay, a big game next week, Rich. Are you expecting that Wakefield will go and pick up more points?
I hope they would, but it's going to be tough. As we say, it's such an unpredictable league this season. I won't be tipping Wakefield. I tipped them today by 1, so I was almost there. But yeah, it'll be an interesting game. Hull, you expect a reaction from Burton, but as we said before the Easter period, that was the game they had to win on Friday, and they absolutely battered Hull KR. We need to talk about Hull KR because they're in a lot of trouble. Because they're not just losing, but they're losing by plenty. And now they're playing against 2 good opposition this weekend. Well, I say good opposition. Hull are kind of here, there, and everywhere, aren't they? But they're battered by Hull, battered by Warrington. At least the thing we can say about London, and we meant go back to last year when Hull were getting battered. At least I think they're showing some spirit in their defeats. What's going on with Hull KR? They're in a lot of trouble.
2 heavy defeats over the weekend, Phil, for Hull Kingston Rovers. Got gubbed by Hull, they got gubbed again today at home by Warrington. They've picked up a couple of key injuries, I understand it. And, Tim Shields, another coach, is maybe under a little bit of pressure. What's your thoughts on Hull KR's weekend and season so far? I mean, everyone's looking at London as the relegation favourites, but Hull KR have got to be involved now.
Yeah, I think so. The manner of those defeats will be a real worry. I think Mitch Garbutt's now going under the knife. He's going to be missing for 3 or 4 weeks, pulled out in the warm-up today. Tommy Lee, I think, is another one who's facing a lengthy layoff with injury. They're running out of bodies because they made the decision to go with a lesser number in their squad and recruit. And we're back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show, that every club is suffering too many injuries at the moment. If you've got a relatively thin squad, it really shows through. I think there are obviously some issues with budget. I think at Hull KR we know that one of their major directors, who was a financial investor in the club, is no longer there at the moment. That's going to take some adjustment for those people that are still there. I think they are quite worrying at times. You look at the manner in which teams get defeated and then you start to worry about it. Of course, a big game next Sunday is Leeds and Hull KR, 2 teams who obviously desperate to put some kind of a winning run and a deal of consistency together. Hull KR produced a great performance to beat Leeds at home, but they're coming off 2 50-point defeats. This is a big week for them. They may be tempted to do something in this week.
What do you reckon, Scott? They're in trouble, aren't they, Rovers? They've got some very good players, but as Phil said, if you take the injuries we've seen here for Wakefield, you give those injuries to Hull KR, they won't be winning games consistently in the top 5.
Exactly, and as I say, it is winning times, and certainly the way, in the manner, when you saw the derby on Friday, you just, at times you just give in, didn't they? And as I say, I would have expected a bit of reaction as well from Hull KR Day against Warrington after what happened to Warrington, but there seems nothing from there, so he's got a lot of hard work to do there, his 2 machines, and I think Hull KR, to be honest with you, they've got too many journeymen, and quite simply on a week-to-week basis, they're not good enough. So people keep saying to me, it's a good job London in the league because it could either be Leeds or Wigan, or maybe going down, but one thing for sure. I don't think it'll be Leeds. Leeds won't make the 5. Wigan won't make the 5. Hull Kingston Rovers, they're in the mire. They're in the battle in London. Who's going to finish bottom?
Would you agree with that, Richard?
At the moment, aren't they? And it's funny, isn't it? Because we've all changed our mind now. Because at the start of the season, we're looking at Leeds' squad, looking at Hulking House squad, and saying, oh, Mitch Garbutt, Jimmy Kynhost, Danny Maguire, they've all left Leeds. What are Leeds doing? And now people are starting to say, well, maybe Gary Hetherington's right to get rid of the president. It's interesting times, isn't it? And Leeds Rhinos, according to the paper today, when you believe everything or not, well, Trent Mount's not supposed to be in according to the paper. That's right, in real life, it's on there. £500,000. This is David Furner's war chest, right? This is what he's calling it now. Also Kevin Tinfield's war chest, as it more likely is. £500,000 apparently they beat for Jake Connor. I think if I was all, I'd be thinking, that's a lot of money for a player, regardless of whether Jake Connor's good or not, obviously he is good. £500,000. Who's the next target then? Who were they looking to replace with that £500,000 for Jake Connor? By the way, I don't listen to at least Price is special, by the way. I've been accused on YouTube of playing for the crowd.
half a million quid for Jake Connor. That's I mean, look, £500,000 for anyone's a lot of money, isn't it? Is he the cure to Leeds' problems?
No. Well, obviously, Jake.
I'd have thought they'd have been better buying a new pack of forwards.
Yeah. And say your halfbacks can't do anything without the forwards taking the lead from there. But I'm not so sure the big would have been £500,000. I'm sure if it'd been £500,000, it would have been sold because it's a hell of a lot of money from there. Rugby league terms, that is absolutely huge. So, as good as what player Connor is, if that sort of offer comes in, I'm sure Hull would sell him.
I think the important thing from a Leeds point of view with that is that's exactly the players that Leeds should be linked with. It's all very well having Bo Falloon on your playing register, but Jake Connor's the sort of player that Leeds should be being linked with. I don't think there was any truth in that bit at all. I think there was with Sean O'Loughlin at the start of the season and prepared to give him big money. I think it just shows that Leeds are back in the market for the right calibre of player, which endorses some of the things you've been saying, that the recruitment hasn't been right up to now. But how do you replace the irreplaceable when we go out and make a bid for somebody like Jake Connor, who clearly at the moment is one of the best players in the British game?
So it's pretty obvious as well that we are looking for a quality halfback out.
Well, I think they're looking for quality players, and if they think that a quality player is available at the club, if they think the club will accept an amount of money, they're going to bid for it.
Interesting. What money? Would it be? He couldn't have been a marquee player, so it'd be interesting how they would have fit, how they would get him in. I don't know.
Somebody would have to go. Clearly, somebody would have to go. So there's a reshaping going on. But I just think that's the kind of player, the quality player that a club like Leeds should be linked with if they're to be taken seriously.
I guess the question that needs to be asked as well is, would Jake Connor be interested in coming to Leeds?
For £500,000 reasons, I think he probably would.
No, but also too, if he's not becoming a marquee player, and also too, if you're being sold for £500,000, you'd want to be one of the top earners. Would he become one of the top earners at Leeds?
Yeah, I think he probably would.
Interesting. Jake Connor, whether there's truth in it or not. He's happy, wants them to sign Jake Connor.
We can just make things up now and just say, come up with a list of players who are coming out of contracts and perhaps worth lots of money, half-backs at, say, I don't know, Salford or something. Say, would Leeds like a Jackson Hayes?
Well, does the price go up because it's Leeds? Because Leeds have gone out and spent big money on Hurrell, who in fairness has been a really good signing. They're obviously spending a lot of money on Trent Merrin.
A good signing.
A good signing, Phil says. What do the Leeds fans think about Merrin? Is he doing all right? Is he a work in progress? Are you happy? Not happy? There's a few faces being pulled over there, so they're overly happy.
£500,000 sounds like too much money, doesn't it?
It's only too much money if you haven't got it. If you've got it, it's not too much money, is it?
I thought Leeds didn't have that much money around to spend. They just bought loads of big stands and stuff. Maybe it's money the same like getting rid of a rugby union club.
Maybe.
The whole of Yorkshire can't
But the problem is, if Leeds come begging and you're a club in England and you know they've bid £500,000 for Jake Connor, you're not going to sell your star asset, are you?
Who's out there who clubs will be willing to? I mean, again, £500,000 a lot of money. They could have probably bought that 3 days from Peters.
Also as well, when you read the piece in League Express, Marlon Pearson, he's looking to go to Australia next year to sign 5 or 6 Australians. So that £500,000 will come in very, very handy for one English player. He's looking to make marquee signings. They're looking to trim the squad from there. So I'd watch this space, mate. I would watch this space.
You think it might happen?
I think it might happen. There's no two ways
At the end of the season?
Well, to be honest with you, after this result today, if Leeds have any aspirations whatsoever, first of all, we're getting to Wembley. And if they look at any aspirations of making the top 5, if we are going to move, we've got to move very, very quickly, because I can reassure you, being a Leeds fan now and also to be the next Leeds player, I know what the Leeds fans want. Leeds fans want quality. and Jake Connor will bring that quality for us.
You can't move that quickly, unfortunately, in a salary cap sport, unless you've got players that you can get off your salary cap very quickly that other clubs want and are prepared to buy. Then it's a more of a longer term thing.
Well, I think, to be honest with you, Phil, I think what Leeds have got decided, if other clubs don't want them, we've got to pay them off. Simple as that.
Still will count the salary cap, that payment. But there's clearly a restructuring going. If you talk about a club that needs to sign Jake Connor, and we haven't spoken about them yet, I'd say it would be Wigan. Looks like they're going to lose George Williams to the NRL. Clearly they've lost 3 or 4 big name players who we've all seen this weekend have been absolutely magnificent again for Canberra. If ever a club needs to dip in their pocket to go and sign a player like Jake Connor for Wigan, the question now is, we know from the last time we broadcast, Sean Edwards definitely isn't coming. Rumours that Tony Smith might be the man that they could be thinking of approaching now. Surely Wigan are the team that need to decide what their squad needs to look like next year and need to put their hands in their pockets.
Surely we need a player like Jake Connor, don't we?
Every club does. Every club does. I think he's the next player that is likely to be snapped up by the NRL if we're not careful. And the one thing I do like about any club, be it Leeds or Wigan or anybody else, bidding £500,000 to keep that money within the Super League, I think that's important. That's the start of the Rob Elston era saying we need to keep our best players here to draw crowds in, and no doubt we'll talk about the crowds that turn up on Thursday and Friday and how that was a record and maybe how we can enhance that. But if we're serious about building bigger crowds around stars of the game, we need to keep those stars here. So even if that's, Castleford bidding £500,000 for Jake Connor, I'm not bothered. That means there's money in the sport.
See, people don't realise at times, Leeds in crisis is actually a bit of a joke. We mean it, but we don't really. But, Leeds, they've got their own stadium.
Here we do.
I'm still by the team. Teach us a tenner, by the way. We're going to see us afterwards. Well, he makes the money out of this operation. No one else is making any money out of rugby. But when we say Leeds in crisis, they do have their own stadium, don't they?
They do,
Yeah.
very nicely.
And they've got a decent-ish squad, haven't they? It's okay. They've got a coach who, he's been dealt with the hand he's been dealt. But generally in crisis, are Wigan, because they signed a coach. They ain't coming. Sean Edwards isn't coming. They've got Adrian Lamlow's now. What is he? Is the interim coach? Does he want to stay? If I was, he wouldn't want to stay because he knows all the best players have been sold.
Our Wakefield fans worried that Chris Chester might become the next Wigan coach because he's in the bed.
It's like I said.
He's not going.
It's like Stephen sent me a message. Rugby needs to promote more English coaches like Chris Chester. But in saying that, Stephen, you want him to go to Wigan or something? You don't want that. Maybe Mr. Carter needs to sign him an extra big super duper contract.
No, I'm sure that'll happen. But who is going to get the gig at Wigan? Wigan with Joe.
The prognosis is not great. Their star names that they've got left are due to either retire or move to the NRL. There are a lot of kids coming through, but that will take time to bed them all in. They seem not to be being linked with any big name signings. I would worry that a coach's reputation might be tarnished going to Wigan just at this time. It's almost like the person has to take over from Sir Alex Ferguson or Don Revie, or that era's come to an end, and you don't want to be the guy that's picking up the mantle for that. I think Adrian Lamb's found it a lot more difficult than he thought it would be. I think Sean Edwards has looked at it and re-evaluated the fact that he needs people around him that perhaps he wouldn't be able to be brought on board. I think Wigan themselves have miscalculated the hole that Sean Wayne being there would leave. And it was never quite satisfactory that you were getting somebody in for a holding year before the guy you really wanted. That's spectacularly backfired, and it doesn't matter whose fault it is. As a management of a business, that's been allowed to happen. So I don't know who a young aspiring coach would take that to put on their CV. I coach Wigan. So you're James Ford at York, you take that job. But I'm not sure who Wigan need at the moment. I think they probably do need a Tony Smith, possibly as director of rugby, whatever that actual role means. Maybe with an Adrian Lam under him, and just come in and say, look, we need to reset this club and put it on a path for the next 3 or 4 years. The one thing Tony Smith did was he did that at Huddersfield, he did that at Leeds, he did that at Warrington. possibly stayed a little bit too long at Warrington, but his 10 years at Huddersfield and Leeds were relatively short, but he changed those clubs around and then moved on. So maybe now they think that he can bring them something. But they have to move quickly. They really need to decide what they're going to do in 2020. And even if it is going to be Adrian Lamb, appoint him sooner rather than later.
Okay, fair enough. Castleford are, well, they've just scored, I think. Well, they're on the right end of the score. How long's left? Can someone tell us? How long's left? All right, mate, no worries. Well, they have just scored straight from the kick-off. But
see, when people can hear applause in the background watching at home, it's not because we've made a good point. It's not like question time. It's because Castleford have conceded.
no, well, they've just actually scored, so that's why it's gone quiet. Yeah, that's why it's gone quiet. Is there any sympathy for Wigan in the room about their predicament at the minute?
We should say hello to Carsten, by the way. He's come all the way from Switzerland just to watch the show. He's not come for a whole weekend. He's just come to watch the show.
Yes, good evening, Carsten, one of our long-time listeners. We've got your gift, actually, Carsten. We've got your Leeds in Crisis t-shirt. So we've got you one. You can have this one. But you've got to wear it every time you're out and about in public now, because Leeds are in crisis.
In Switzerland.
In Switzerland, yeah. So there you go. The legend will give you that Leeds in Crisis t-shirt.
I exchanged 4 tissues for the legend.
Oh, there you go. Give you some tissues to cry. There you go. What a guy. What a guy. I always knew he was a good fella.
By the way, why are you wearing no Queens shirt? Why are you not wearing a West Tigers shirt? Balmain Tigers.
Did you see him?
Hey?
Did you watch West?
Hey, why are you not wearing a West Tigers shirt?
West are still playing and haven't scored yet, and that was this morning.
It's like watching Leeds.
Sean Wayne, would you be happy to get him back in Rugby League? Sean Wayne? I think he's a defensive thing. People don't like him, but they actually respect him. I think now he's not in the game. I think that's a fair point.
Well, we've had Derek, our friend in Afghanistan.
All right.
On Facebook.
He won a free t-shirt as well.
I should say to all the people watching at home, I know the quality's not as good, but you know, stick with us. We've got a budget here. Lee Radford to Wigan, Sean Wayne to Hull.
17 minutes left.
I don't know where
17 minutes left.
I don't know where it's coming from this week. We'd rather we hope to be honest with you. Say it was going to happen.
Well, he's out of contract and they haven't given him a new one. That might be why there's speculation about it. He's what, 6 months left? Time ticking by?
I'll be very, very surprised if that happens, to be honest with you. And I've said to you about the Wigan situation. They have got to hold their hands up. They made a massive, massive mistake by letting Mr. Wayne go. And they've got to knock on his door. Sean, can we have a word, please? We want you to come back. Simple as that. They don't need to get anybody else. They don't need to reinvent the club. They don't need to reinvent the club. Sean Wayne knows Wigan inside out, what they have to do, hold their hands up, made a massive mistake, and ask him to come back.
What if he doesn't want to come back?
Well, where do they go? Exactly. Where do they go?
Because again, you look at the players that are the Sean Wayne players that he would want to build his club around. None of them are there anymore. Why would he want to come back?
Well, he would. Well, I guess he would only come back on his terms, and if it's not on his terms, then he won't come back. Then, would he? But
well, Sean Wayne was wanted to come back on his terms and didn't come back.
Well, I think to be honest with you, Sean has realised that the way that Rugby League has moved on, it's as he called it, preparation. He couldn't spend 8 weeks in Australia to follow what he wanted to do. Also as well, he didn't get the 2 assistant coaches, quality assistant coaches, what he wanted. So at the end of the day, exactly as we said about Sean Wayne, if it's not right, come back on his terms, he won't come back. But he's been sadly missed, not just by Wigan, but he's been sadly missed by the game of Rugby League in general.
Agreed.
Well then, as pointed out here by Simon, he said he'd have Sean Wayne at least to help with the defence, isn't he only part-time with the Scottish Rugby League? I think, but Sean Wayne at Leeds? For the Leeds fans like that?
Well, you mentioned that story when he left Wigan, that he maybe Leeds should have got him, but I don't think that'd be a popular appointment, would it, at Leeds?
Well, hey, listen.
He's a winner though, isn't he? He's a winner. Whether you like him or not, he's a winner.
He builds this so-called word, he builds a culture. He builds a winning culture, and I'm sure the players, well, if they didn't fall into line, then they'd be off, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? So, hey, listen, it wouldn't worry me, Sean Wayne, couple of leagues. Not one little bit. Wouldn't worry me, one little bit. I'd be delighted to see.
Where does... Can we go back to Leeds? And I know the listeners at home, they don't like us talking about Leeds, but we're going to talk about it. Dave Furner, where is he in the Leeds jigsaw at the moment? Because Leeds are clearly now, they've changed policy. They're spending big money that they've never done before. They're spending big money on players. But it's going to take them a while, I think, to turn this squad around as they would want. Maybe they can't, as Phil said, spend the money they want to spend now to get the players in they want to get. So where does Dave Furner sit in this? He's either is he going to be given 3 or 4 years to build a team, or is he does he need success now?
No, listen, the position what Leeds are in, it certainly won't be given 3 years, I can reassure you. So, but the situation is for Davies, and the hierarchy realise that, you know, Kevin and Gary Harrington is quite simple yet. They've used this word, we're in transition. We're 12 games into the season, we're joint bottom of the league, or second bottom in the league, so no, it's not looking a pretty picture for ourselves in the league position, but Furner will be given time. Well, won't be for sure, he won't be given 3 seasons. No way, mate. If Leeds, say for instance, let's just say we finish third bottom, we get to the quarter-final of the Challenge Cup, that will be a very, very disappointing season. I would imagine, if Leeds are in this position next season, after 12 games, then I would say the pressure will be on David Furner.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything immediate on the horizon to change anything, and I think you have to have some degree of consistency. And it goes back to what we were saying about a potential poison chalice. When you take over from the coach that's been the most successful at the club, in fact in Super League in the summer era, then, and anything you want to change, there is a period of adjustment. It's not even sometimes to do with the players that you've got, it's just you're trying to change a culture. You have to give it a little bit of time, and they would have hoped obviously that it had gone far smoother than it has at the moment, but I don't think you get anything by changing a coach at this stage. You know, if you're trying to rebuild something, all you're then doing is going back to square one.
Yeah, I'm not saying get rid of him now. I mean, longer term, you know, because pressure is on. Leeds are expected to win. You know, Wigan are expected to win. But Adrian Lamb at the end of the day can go, well, I'm here for a year, so I can go. He's not going to, in effect, get sacked. He's going to walk away from the job. Leeds is a little bit different, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is, and also as well, at this moment in time, I'm not hearing the Leeds fans who I speak to, I'm not hearing the Leeds fans saying it's Furner's fault, Furner needs to be sacked. They're understanding at this moment in time, but if they finish third or fourth bottom, or even 7th or 8th, and then they say don't get anywhere near the Challenge Cup, I think the Leeds fans, as the way that I know them, they might say, right, okay, we've given him that season, we've given him that first season as a honeymoon period, but if he's in the same position this time next year, I can guarantee you, the Leeds fans, they'll be saying, see you later.
Okay, we've had a chat about Wigan. What you got to say, Rich?
I was just going to say, well, they all hated Brian McDermott anyway, didn't they? So those who wanted McDermott out are getting what they deserve right now. Speaking of Brian McDermott, he's also in the Championship today, just to pay lip service. Toulouse battered Halifax 56-4, Batley 32, Swinton 18, Bradford 26, Barrow 14. I am already bored of the Bradford versus Leeds hype, by the way.
Not the biggest derby on the planet.
The biggest derby on the planet, everybody. Bradford versus Leeds. Remember Bradford. Featherstone 14, Toronto 23. Of course, Toronto versus Ottawa will be the new biggest derby next year. Leeds 34, Dewsbury 12, Rochdale 16, Sheffield 52. And York 17, Witness 10. Big result for York.
Big result for York. Another good win for James Ford. They'll be delighted with that. They're firmly in the mix for the playoffs.
You mean next Leeds coach, James Ford?
Could be.
Along with Danny Ward and Chris Chester. I think the Easter weekend in the Championship belongs to Sheffield. And an absolutely massive win over Toulouse, and then again another huge win today. So watch out for Sheffield.
Well, that Championship again, you know, if you don't bring your A game, you're going to get turned over, you know, and that's the complexity of that division. It's the same in League One. If you don't bring your A game week in and week out, it's that consistency basis. And I'm afraid to say you're going to get turned over. It's great to see. Great to see.
It is indeed. Castleford has scored. Is the comeback on, lads? Those watching the telly, is the comeback on for Cass? Are they going to win? We hope not. All right, okay, fair enough.
Oh, listen, lads, come on, you can't let the French. You can't be supporting the French, surely. Surely.
No.
Do me a favour. Make that your last. Do me a favour.
Right, okay. I want to talk about Warrington. Warrington, who got absolutely stuffed at Saints, and they did get stuffed. They lost. They got beat by Salford. Not beat, they got thrashed by Salford. Well, they probably couldn't have picked a better game today. They've got a whole chaos going. They've put 50 on them. It's not been a great week or two, has it, for Steve Price and Warrington?
It hasn't. And when you saw the St Helens game, we're all looking forward to the battle of the forwards, aren't we? You know, I said the Warrington forwards, it was a soft performance from the Warrington forwards. When you saw the Salford game, it was even softer performance. The Warrington players thought they were playing touch and pass. The touch the Salford players, but they didn't stop. They were going over the whitewash. They were going over the 4 pointers, and so that is very, very, I would say, a massive worry for Steve Price when it does come to the big games. And if I'm honest with you, I felt Ulkiar and Tim Sheep would got a reaction today, and I tipped Ulkiar to beat Warrington by 7, to be honest with you. But obviously Warrington, they've answered their critics, they've sorted out maybe the defence and the attack, but the winning aspect for Warrington is simple. When the questions are being asked about the forward pack, they're being found out.
Interesting that, you know, all right, they've won today by 50, but I almost feel like that's not the result that we all expected they would win quite easily there, Rich. Where do they go from here? They're still obviously firmly leading the charge behind St Helens, but is it going to be their year?
Well, it's not, is it now? See, I firmly flicked. 2 weeks ago when they were heading up to that game against St Helens, I was like, Warrington are the best team I've seen, they're going to beat St Helens, they're going to win the Super League, and now they've lost to St Helens, and it's all a bit, oh, actually I might have been wrong, all along. They just need to turn things around at some point, and you know, they'll have another opportunity this week to do so, but they've beaten the whole KR. Well, they expected to beat the whole KR, they've beaten them by plenty. How do you go into that game and lose to Salford, who were on that long losing streak? I know Salford obviously had something to prove, and I'm sure they played really well. I've only seen the highlights, but that's an awful result to come back from.
I think it's all about raising for the really big games, and we talked quite a bit before Warrington played St Helens about who might win it and what the incentive was for each of those teams to win it, and who could go to that extra level when they were really tested for the first time this season. And Saints were absolutely clinical, and then even going into a derby on Good Friday, you know, the form goes out the window line. It's true, we've seen plenty of derbies where teams who have got lesser players took the game against Castleford, much to the enjoyment of the fans in the room. I think that's 31-16 now to Catalan. You know, that Wigan at Wigan with nothing to lose was a potential stumbling block for St Helens, but the second half they were just so dominant. And then again, that second game at Easter, Hull coming off a big derby win, they're going to St Helens with nothing. You know, Saints go 10 down early and then stick on 60. I think you look at what Saints have achieved over the last 3 games, and that's a team that's on a real upward curve. You look at Warrington, the first real test they had at Saints, they failed it. The backlash of that was they couldn't back up against Salford on the Monday. So yeah, they're back on the horse against the team you would have expected them to beat today, and they've done it in a very convincing manner. But I think, you know, the cup tie against Wigan is Warrington's next big game. They need to really start putting down some markers if we're going to take them seriously.
We're going to drag up Michael Carter, and he doesn't know, we'll just say it on the podcast, so he can have to be now. But I'll just show you, what is it about the south of France? And male rugby league players doing daft things. Everyone sent us this video. Remember Aaron Murphy when he died, and you nearly got banned from Huddersfield?
Yeah.
And that was a real banning, not like me pretending to be banned from players. I nearly got banned from Heels. Michael Shenton, who we all like. Yeah. That's great, he's on the radio stuff. I'm sure he's showing his video.
They don't all like him here.
No. Oh, they don't like him. Michael Shenton gets the ball at dummy half and throws it at a Catalan player who just, you know, I don't know who the number 24, he's just minding his own business, gets a penalty. It's cheating, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah, dead set cheating. Oh, dead set cheating. Yeah, he should have, Michael Shenton should know better. He should know better. Dead set cheating. But also, just going back to Warrington the UKR game, after the performances on Good Friday, both coaches expected a response. There's only one coach got a response. That's Steve Price. He'll be pretty happy. He'll be pretty happy that he's got the 2 points. But certainly, he'll be thinking the performance against Salford, soft. The performance against St Helens, because they are far above, better than inside at this moment in time, wasn't good enough. So, yeah, Catalans as well. But Catalans, I guess, will be in St Helens as well, to be honest with you from there. But yeah, coaches wanted a response. Price got it. Tim Sheens didn't.
Interesting, very interesting. I think Warrington will still be there. I think Saints are playing great at the minute, but you don't win anything now. We've seen this before in the last few years. Saints did it last year, Cass did it the year before. It doesn't mean you're going to win the grand final.
Oh, that's likely to be a Warrington Saints grand final, is it? Unless Wakefield get there, of course, just to play for the audience. He's going to see current players, actually, current Super League players calling out Michael Shenton as well on Twitter. So.
Well, exactly.
They call out referees, so it's nice that this is changing. And again, it's not a knock on Michael Shenton, but stop being idiots. Stop making referees give decisions they have to give because you're bending the rules, gamesmanship, cheating the score.
They like you, don't they? They like you, Richard.
They used to do.
Yeah? No, they don't used to. No, well, never mind. Never mind. We'll get MC up. Well, let's have MC up, Michael Carter. The King of Wakefield, if you please. Can you all be upstanding? Even you miserable Leeds fans.
He'll be smiling, will Mr. Carter?
He will be smiling. He will be. He'll be smiling even more if you'd have bought a pint over the bar, but that's about as likely as Leeds winning it.
That's a bit harsh, Mr. Wilson. That's a bit harsh.
Mr. Carter, give him the microphone. Mr. Carter, congratulations on your win. Who would have thought it? With half the team, you could still beat Leeds.
I can't take the King of Wakefield, can I? There's only one King of Wakefield.
Well, yeah, there is. But he's not here, he's in the big one. He's not, he's gone home. We won't tell him.
Outstanding today, mate. I thought, I looked at how many players we've got missing and looked at the squad, and there was obviously some kids that we had to throw in there as well today, and he's done fantastically well, and I hope he's on the massive high tonight because he should be. But really, really proud of that. I think we've said it a couple of times this year. That's the best performance since Chesney took charge, but I honestly thought tonight was, to defend that much in the first half, have 2 breakaways, go in at 12 all, still under the pump, and then sort of have a 10-minute spell where we posted some points, and then just literally hanging on again, and some big performances from Riesling. For me, gets better and better every single week. The middles were great. I talked to Phil earlier. I'm now a convert into 1 game at Easter because we're killing these lads. We're absolutely killing them. So we've got to sort something out there. But just really, really proud of them, mate. I think they were fantastic.
It's fair to say expectations have changed here, haven't they? Let's be fair. You were favourites to be bottom 4 years ago. You're not now.
Yeah.
People are talking you up. So therefore, was there a little bit of pressure on you to win today, given that you didn't win at Cass, a game that you looked out of for half an hour, and then when you woke up, I felt, and I said to you, I thought you should have won on Thursday night. But did you feel a bit of pressure that you had to beat Leeds today?
I didn't. Not me personally. I thought that again. I don't want to use injuries as an excuse, but I just felt that, we've got a team out there, bare 17. I mean, our 18th man was a young kid who's 17 years old. For me, it's always about having a dig. If we have a dig, I'm happy with whatever the result is. We have a dig, and I think this group have got that in spades, that they will just keep turning up week in, week out for each other. And the happiest players in that changing room at the full time when they all got in there were the ones that were injured. They're the ones that are backslapping everybody else and saying, fantastic guys, and Lee Kershaw he's just had a dream day, from in tears at Boxing Day in a game that doesn't really matter, to being in tears of joy tonight, having just, it's stuff dreams of me. It's what we all dream of, isn't it? Going 85 metres in your first game against Leeds Rhinos. You could smile,
Don't rub it in, Mr. Carter. I think that gets better in the future. I know that. But listen, mate, just a couple of questions. So, your little club who runs a reserve side, so the young kid who's coming from there, it feels part of Wakefield straight away, it knows the players, straight into the system. Surely that helps as well, having a reserve team. The players know all about the club, know about the players, and it helps when you've got to throw them in.
It's been really tough for us this year because we have run a reserve team, but we've also tried to get players out on dual reg or on loan because we want to put them in the environment that we feel, not me, but the coaching staff feel is going to do them the most benefit. So Lee Kershaw has been at Oldham all season. I mean, they absolutely love him there. He's had 2 or 3 man of the match performances. He's scored a load of tries. And when I had to call him back on Friday, fair play to Chris Hamilton and Scott Naylor at Oldham. They understood completely that we needed him back, but we're desperately sad that they'd lost him. And Oldham need to reap some benefit from that as well because they've developed that kid. So, it's worked all the way around for us. We had a reserve game down here on, I think, last Wednesday against Keighley. We've stretched ourselves a little bit this year. I'm the first to admit we probably haven't got the numbers right for each settle, but we'll get better at it. So next year when we recruit, we've got reserves in mind again. We've got people going out on different stages into the championship and loan and all that sort of thing. So it's all about trying to fit the right environment for each individual player and seeing them grow. And I think we've paid, we've reaped the rewards of that today.
The result what you've got today, you've got 12 senior players out. You brought Bruffy in as a final piece of the jigsaw to get you into that 5. So you've got a nice draw in the Challenge Cup. If the draw goes nicely for you, surely everybody else, Wembley has to race, so you've got that. But the question I'm asking, Michael, is with 12 games into the season, everybody's a little bit inconsistent apart from St Helens and maybe a little bit of Warrington. You get into the 5, you get all your best players back for that top 5 from there. Can you make the grand final? Can they get on your day? Can you beat anybody on your day?
I'm just having an instant flashback to October the 3rd, 2015 and the £1 million game down here. So, I never get carried away. I think we've got a team, a squad that on any given day can turn anybody over. I truly believe that. We have to play well. We have to work hard for each other. We don't get anywhere with that kind of work. I guess Catalans have scored it. But on Gary, I truly believe on any given day we can go to anywhere and win a game.
I know that we've been having these conversations probably for 3 or 4 years, and your role here has just slightly changed, and economics now are even more important as the chief executive. But good news about the stadium, that there's a chance now that we'll be able to see some building here in the not too distant future. It might include even some other commercial operations that will bring even more income in. And you said right at the very beginning that's the next step to make you a sustainable top 5 club. This is an exciting time now. How do you foresee this club looking in 2 years' time? If we're sitting here having this conversation, will it be partly redeveloped? Will you be able to spend the full salary cap? Will you be a top 5 team every year?
I think that last question, Phil, I think is, there are still a lot of good sides out there. So again, I'm not getting carried away that Wakefield have had back-to-back top 5s, and we're probably 3rd at the minute in the table, and that could go drastically wrong at any time. 3 defeats and they'll still be lynching me on Westgate, so don't worry about that. But 2 years' time, I'd love to see at least the East Stand redeveloped. I think that is absolutely our priority, because that's the stand that can create the commercial return that we need to spend salary cap. So we've got to crack on with that, and then we've got to try and generate probably £200,000 to £300,000 a year out of that facility as well, which A, will pay the debt off a little bit, but B, will let us spend up to salary cap. And other things, I'm going to be honest, because I don't want to just plough it all into players. There's an infrastructure that needs improvement here. We've got very, very small staff. So investing in staff as well, off the field, will produce its rewards.
I was going to ask you about that, because we've been talking, as you say, about whether you only have 1 game over Easter and how that impacts on you as a club to commercially try and sell however many home games you get, and maybe have to work a little bit harder if that's possible on selling less games. But you can only do that if you've got the infrastructure to do it. So at what point you say this amount goes into the playing squad and we sustain always being in the playoffs for the foreseeable future, and this goes into increasing our commercial department, increasing our marketing department, whatever else you need to do to get more people through the gate.
Ultimately, the first sort of the first bit of revenue, you'd always put that to your first team, because that does kind of drive everything. Whether we like it or not, results do matter, and they drive your business as well. So it would be a case for me that we get some more investment into the first team, and then we'd sit back and say, right, can the next 20 or 30 grand be spent better in marketing or commercial or anything along them lines? So it's always a fine balancing act. There's no quick fixes, there's no shortcuts. You just got to take it a step at a time, and we all ultimately want to be Leeds Rhinos, whether the Wakefield fans like that or not. We all ultimately want to be the business that is Leeds Rhinos, because that has been the flagship for 20 years.
Okay, well, we'll leave that comment there. We don't want to talk about Leeds anymore. Michael, I want to ask you about player recruitment, because Phil and I argue about this all the time. Phil said it's difficult to go out there and get players. Not only are you getting players, you're keeping the best players. Congratulations this week, Carl Wood re-signs, David Fafita re-signed. I think you would have got Lynch if you hadn't got him over the line, but congratulations on that. That is a sign of how far you've come now, that these big players, or your bigger players, are not looking to go elsewhere. They're happy to stay here. How hard is it doing the recruitment, keeping the players? How difficult is it?
You become a victim of your own success, because 3 years ago you could sign these players, or you'd pick up a Matty Ashurst from Salford who wanted to play week in, week out, and get value for money out of that. And then Matty has an unbelievable 2 years, gets named in the dream team, and some of these players quite rightly want to earn a bit more because they're showing that they deserve a little bit more. So you do become a victim of your own success, but I genuinely believe, and we'll talk about Big Dave, as long as we got the number right for Big Dave, he didn't want to leave. He's so happy at Wakefield. He's a mile down the road, his kids are in a good school, his family's settled, but we had to get the number right and reward him appropriately, and that's what we've had to do. But next year, having talked to Chesney, we may come down from 30 to 29 because we've just had to add a bit more quality around the edges. So again, it's back to balancing acts, and I'm lucky that I have a really good relationship with Chesney, and we talk about players together. I'll put my valuation on him. An agent once told me, you place the valuations because it's your money you're spending, so it wasn't a bad tip back. But we sit down together, we'll talk about different players, we'll talk about what they think they're worth, what we feel they're worth. If we can find some middle ground in that, we'll go ahead with the signing. But there's been a couple this week that we've sat there and said, absolutely not worth that money. So we've walked away. And you've just got to, it is really difficult, and there's a limited market for players out there. I think what you're finding, and you see this at every club, is clubs are trying really, really hard to retain the players they've got, because they know that there's not many out there that they can attract into the club, and that's certainly where we're at. Where are we looking to change? Probably 3 or 4 again this year.
I think as well you mentioned as well there, Michael, the relationship what you have with Chris Chester, but also to what I see in this club is, it's not just a relationship you have with Chris, it's what the players have with Chris, also to yourself as well. So for me, what I find very important is that the players, they're coming to work with a smile on their face. They're coming here with a smile on their face and want to go to work. They want to go to work with that smile on their face from there because of the trust and relationship, because it starts at the top, and if they have that at the top from there, the players will come here, and I guess because you know your figures, you're an accountant, so you know exactly going from there. What I'm seeing here with the Wakefield players, they're not here just to pick up the money, they're here because of the enjoyment as well.
They could get absolutely a load of them could get more money elsewhere, there's no doubt about that. So I think you're right, they thrive in this kind of backs to the wall, underdogs, all those cliches, they thrive in that. I mean, and they take the mick out of me. You know, Craig Copchat's walked off today and said, when are you going to get that pitch board? You know, that was his first comment to me. So I'm saying to him, I'm putting 20,000 litres of water on it a day and I still can't get it. Yeah. Well, I need some rain because that pitch is rock hard and I can't get it resolve it. But, you know, I think we have a bond here that doesn't cross that line into anything disrespectful. And I think they all know, players, coaches, whatever, that, you know, when that line's crossed, there are harsh conversations to be had, but they're respectful of that, and you know, I think they're a great group. They'll all be out tonight bonding with each other and having a beer, and that's how it should be. I think, you know, I don't see any egos in our changing room. You know, from the young, they've loved Kirsch today. When they've got in that changing room, they've absolutely battered him with affection and praise, and you know, slaps on the back and everything. And this is a kid that's played 80 minutes in his life. So I just think you know, I can still remember the hard days of 2015 dealing with car crashes and stuff like that. So it's a pleasure to actually come in and know that, touch wood, they're not exactly bad set of lads.
Last one, we'll let you go. You are third in the table, by the way, tonight, I'm told. So congratulations on that. Not bad in the midst of an injury crisis, really.
Did the season finish now? What's that for?
Yeah. Hopes, your hopes. I mean, we've spoken to you when, like you said, the week before the £1 million game, and I can't imagine what pressure you were under, personally and professionally, on that day. You came through it, and this club has gone forward and gone forward and gone forward. What is, to these people in the room, the people who will catch up with it later on the podcast, where are Wakefield going? Where's the roadmap? What's the plan?
For me, it's the word I use all the time, legacy. So I want this community stadium built. I want the city of Wakefield to have a professional sporting team that it can be proud of, and that it can encourage the youngsters that we've got in this city and beyond to get out there and not just play sport, but get out there and enjoy doing something inspiring. Have heroes in this city, heroes like Dave Fafita. Danny came off today, 150th game as captain. You know, that guy is just, he is Mr. Wakefield. You know, I know he's King of Charleston, but yeah, he is Mr. Wakefield.
We'll ask you about him just quickly, because there's what's in knows looks like he broke it again or whatever, but how many times has he put his hand up in an injury crisis when he shouldn't have played?
£1 million game.
Yeah.
You know, and he scores the first try in a £1 million game. Shouldn't have been anywhere near that £1 million game. Stuck his hand up. The Challenge Cup semi-final when we played Warrington wasn't anywhere near fit. Only had 16 bodies. Stuck his hand up. He has been absolutely the best player I've had under my control in the last 6 years. Just sticking with us. He could have gone to Salford. He could have probably gone somewhere else. You know, he's in the dream team. he's just been brilliant. He is Mr. You know, the cap. You epitomise a captain. You say Danny Kermond. He's been brilliant.
When we talk about testimonials, I think that is one that is well earned. It starts, I think, doesn't it, later in the season, and I'm sure everyone will get firmly behind him.
Yeah. It's funny because I think me and Richard have a chat about who gets a testimonial, and you know, you get a feel for somebody who deserves a testimonial. Danny Kermond ticks. He might not have ticked every box in terms of games, but he ticks every box in terms of what he's done for this club, and his legacy will be felt in the next 10, 15 years, because there's no doubt he's inspired kids to come and play rugby league, not just for this club, but in community clubs as well, because you know what a great ambassador he is for the community game as well. So he's been brilliant.
Good stuff. Third in the table then. You got the home cup tie to come. Yeah. Are you excited about what 2019 might bring?
When the eights disappeared, we're not all scrabbling to get in the eights before the end of July. I did say to Chelsea I quite fancy a cup run. It'd be nice to go on one. 40 years from the last time we were there.
Richard has put some of his hard-earned money on you to win the cup.
Oh, wow.
So don't let him down.
Wow, there is a.
Well, that might pay for your new stadium actually if they win.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, a cup run would be great. The 2016, when we got to the Challenge Cup semi-final, we played Cast the week before. We were going really well. And then we got 5 injuries in that game, and it just decimated us for the week after. So it would be nice to get a few bodies back and then see if we could have a real good run at the cup. But again, it goes back to, as long as these lads are having a dig for me, I can take any result that comes along.
And days like today, you're winning like you have done in the manner with the players you've got. I guess that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a real high point, and these are the ones you've got to enjoy, because we know there'll be a low point along the way. Enjoy tonight, everybody, every fan, everybody associated with Wakefield Trinity. Enjoy tonight, because today's been a really great game, really great day.
Good stuff. Michael Carter, there are a few Wakefield fans left. I'm sure they appreciate what you've done. As we do as well. Cheers, Michael. Thanks, we're going to cut it reasonably short now. We'll do our predictions outside because we don't want to get heckled anymore. But look, it's been a good Easter. For St Helens, they've beaten Wigan, they've won again today, they've thrashed Hull. They're leading the way. Is anyone going to catch them scoring?
No. And you know what? You might not like it, the St Helens fans, but they are doing the treble this year.
Get off! Rubbish!
Saints are doing the treble this year, there's no two ways about it.
You see, listen, you said that before, they
There's
won
no debate, hey,
nothing.
listen, there's no debate. Saints are doing the treble this year. It wouldn't surprise me if Wakefield avoid Saints for the Challenge Cup, Wakefield made the Challenge Cup. But Saints are doing the treble. And I'm not apologising, St Helens fans, and I'm not apologising to Stronghold.
The kiss of death. The kiss of death. Warrington, someone just said.
Warrington, that's Warrington do.
Yeah, well, he'll change his mind in 2 weeks when they get paid next week. It is always there, yeah. It will be one day. It will be.
Everybody kept for Robert Alston, because he said we're going to have a massive attendance on Good Friday. And a lot of, some people have had to eat some humble pie. I mean, we know what that's like on this programme. But, they had to eat a bit of humble pie. Good old Robert
So I
Alston.
like to eat pie, whatever variety it is.
He's going to sell out the Magic Weekend now, but small steps.
Yeah, small steps indeed. That's it, we'll cut it there for now. You got anything to add, Phil? A Leeds in crisis? You got my t-shirt?
Well, no more than they were last week or the week before. They're certainly not consistent. Their best 40 minutes of the season was against Huddersfield on Good Friday. They couldn't back it up here against an exceptionally committed and spirited Wakefield team, and there still is a missing ingredient. I think we probably just do need to touch on the attendances on the Thursday and Friday. Now, the first thing that Rob Elston has to be judged on was getting more fans through the door. Yeah, some of that is on what fixtures you have. If you've got Wigan at home and you've got Hull at home and they're both in derbies, you've got Leeds at home, you've got Warrington at home, the likelihood is you're going to have a good weekend of attendances. Congratulations to them. I think 79,000 over the first games at Easter. That is a landmark, but we now need to build on that. We now need to know what is next. Is it going to be how we promote the Magic Weekend on the back of that? Is it going to be looking at the Easter period and saying, actually now if we only have one game over that period, we might be able to go from 79,000 fans to perhaps 100,000 fans if we get the right fixtures and make them into real big events. But you cannot knock him for saying he's going to achieve something and achieving it. So I think, this programme has always said, let him set his own targets and we'll judge him on it. Well, he set one, he achieved it, and we take our hats off to him for that. I think that's encouraging for Rugby League. I think the viewing figures on television are still holding up, which is great when you're talking about a new television deal. Disappointed for Michael today that 6,785 deserved to be more here, and I accept that some of that might be Leeds aren't travelling in the same number that they would have done if they'd been playing a little bit better. But what more does he have to do on an absolutely gorgeous bank holiday Monday with his team sitting in the top 5 to get more people from Wakefield to come and see this fantastic team play? We've lauded them for the last hour, deservedly. And I think the future is really rosy for Wakefield, and there'll come a point when they can't play the underdog card because they deservedly will be ranked with the likes of St Helens and Warrington when a season starts. But what does he need to do to get more people to come in and watch this team play? And I think it's not just him, it's the game as well. We need to have that strategy for bringing more people through the game. Good Friday and Thursday including 9,000 at Castle, which was again a great attendance on the Thursday night. That's a landmark, but we have to build on it.
Good stuff. Last one then, last one. We always talk sense, Phil, that's why we have him on. Who's going to make the 5 then? Let's go in. Who's going to make the 5? We're nearly halfway through the season. Who is it going to be?
Saints, Warrington, Wakefield, Catalans, Cass.
Richard?
Yeah, go with us. 5.
No, yeah, all
Well,
right.
I don't know. I think everyone's inconsistent, aren't they? But some are less inconsistent than others. And Wakefield and Castle are less inconsistent than most.
Phil?
I think the only thing we do know is that Saints and Warrington, which is, you don't need to be a mystic made for that. I think Wakefield, I think the importance of today, like we said at the very beginning, was winning a game that is of a narrow margin, because they've gone through 3 where they just lost out. I think it's not just that you needed confidence to know that you can hold out at games like that, but the fact is, they should be able to kick on from this because of the amount of top quality players they're going to have coming back. So I think we said at the start of this season, Wakefield only need to finish the same as they have for the last 2 seasons, and they're in the playoffs because it's top 5 this year. They're actually a better team, so they should be in there. I think the other 2 positions are absolutely up for grabs. We weren't sure how Cass would go when Luke Gale was injured on the verge of the season. I think Michael Shenton's limped off today. He may be the next one that they're going to lose. I don't know if they'll make the 5 because I think they'll just run out of troops. We said Catalan should use the Challenge Cup as the springboard perhaps to be a top 5 team, but they're still incredibly inconsistent away from home. If they can cure a bit of that, they are potentially top 5, as they should be when they buy people like Sam Tompkins and Matt Whitley and Matty Smith and Sam Cassiano. That is a gesture of intent, so I'd like to think that they're a candidate. But as for the other team in there, I still think there's somebody at the bottom of the league that could put a run together, and that might be Wigan, it might be Salford, might be Hull.
Go on, say it.
It won't be Leeds.
Where's McDermott to come in and say they're going to win the league?
Yeah, exactly.
We should say, by the way, those Leeds in Crisis t-shirts, dual purpose, not just rugby, but the football as well. Because Leeds United in Crisis as well.
You're on,
just lose the audience.
You're on, son.
It's
You're on,
true.
son.
Up the blades. Sheffield's a bigger city than Bradford, just to the Bradford Ball social media team. I didn't realise that.
Okay.
Leeds Sheffield's the biggest army in rugby league.
Right, that's it. Shut up now. You've offended enough people. Thanks to you guys for coming. We appreciate that. Thanks for listening every week. Download the podcast. We'll do our predictions. Those will be on social media. Thanks to the legend as well. 46 great Britain caps. Should have had more, but never mind. Thanks for
You like him really, don't you? You like him really.
I think Carsten's dying now. Thanks to Richard, thanks to Phil as ever, thanks to you for listening. We'll catch up with you next week, back 6 o'clock every Monday night on 4020 Live.